Alright guys, so we brought our new and improved A-frame down. Well, we're calling it an A-frame. It's our Davit thing that we use during seining. This guy off so it's not so heavy. So let's stick it in and see how it looks.
Matt fabricated up a nice new ear right here. The stainless insert so it doesn't wear. As the shackle swings back and forth, it'll cut through that aluminum over time and elongate the hole. Got it all welded up. Should hold, I think. And so we're gonna put it up here and see if we like it. Excuse me. Just using the same brackets as before. And our enormous bolt.
I don't know if those bolt holes align. They have.
They do, yeah.
Oh, it's up here. Got our custom built Snatch block. Built this quite a few years ago now. This is actually our pursing block. So a stainless body, bronze shiv. Nice and heavy.
All right. And we'll put our line in here to kind of see.
A little simulation.
So ideally, you kind of want the line just about where Matt's feet are, even back towards me a little bit. Kind of going straight down and forward. Try not to get it underneath the boat. Out this way is okay because you can turn on it and spin, get it lined up again. But that's kind of the best way to haul it there. This will probably be swung forward a bit. It gets it out a bit further, gives us a little more maneuvering. I was hoping that this would be up a bit higher. I think we kind of got a plan for that. So we might be switching this so it's up here, I think. And so we can do that a couple of different ways. We were talking about that yesterday, possibly extending this pipe, but then came up with a better plan, I think, and that's just to weld a new ear on the top up here, and then this can go up, and that one will stay down, and that should solve that problem. Other than that, I like it. It's where it needs to be. It's right at the midship, so that allows us to spin the boat on it. Further forward you go, the easier it is to turn on something that's loaded. Obviously, if there's no load, it's not a problem, but when this gets tight, the further back past the midships here, if you go back, then you pretty much can't spin around on it. So
it's quite a bit further forward than it was too. So if you imagine last season, it was more probably around here.
About here.
Yeah. So
it's going to make a big difference.
That also gets Dad on the back side of it, which is easier for him to grab snaps off, operate the controls and stuff.
This way I can use either hand. When the fish come up this way, it's going to put them over here where they kind of need to be, the bigger ones. So yeah, I think the first thing that we're going to do is go ahead and address this because it is down a little bit low.
Yeah, so it doesn't give you much time to actually grab the snap before it reaches the block.
Yeah. And the other thing too is that it raises this up, and people might be concerned that it's more head level, but really it's not too much of an issue. Generally when this gets really, when we get hung up and there's a lot of strain on this line, it usually breaks underwater. It usually breaks where it's caught. The line will chafe there, that's where it'll part. Very rarely does it break above, at least not in our case. And the other thing is too, is that we can always take this out and we can drop it down here and just pull it down here. And that just lowers the center of gravity and kind of gets us away from it. I can be over here, Matt can be over there, and we'll just pull it till it breaks if we can. Get it to come loose. This is to put the boat in gear, throttle, forward or reverse, and this is a jog lever to turn the vessel. So these come in 2 different varieties. This is an FU, which it stands for follow-up. So basically where you put this, that's where your rudder stays. Then there's a non-follow-up that when you turn it, if you let go, it's spring-loaded, it comes back to 0 and centers your rudder. So we use a follow-up because you don't want to just stand there the whole time with your hand on this when you're turning. A lot of times you'll just be bumping it the same way depending on which way your current is. So you might just be a little bit to the starboard and you can just bump it and go down the line like that real easy. A lot of times you just want to go forward and just kind of do a slow arc, and that allows you to do that. And you definitely don't want to be standing here the whole time holding it while you're turning and getting lined up and then all that. So it just makes it easy. It does have a detent, so you can feel when it hits the 0 mark, 0 rudder. And that's the difference anyways between a NFU and an FU, so non-follow-up and follow-up jog sticks. So let's see, so I had this on here last year, which is pretty comfortable because then I just know forward is forward, reverse is reverse. I can just stand here and same thing, I can feel when it hits 0 and I know that's where it is and just kind of look over there, but it's pretty easy to kind of feel where it's at. So I'll likely keep that same orientation and maybe put it right there.
You could just weld a little piece of flat bar right there.
Yeah.
And bolt in through that one.
So I think what we're thinking is we take this off here. So this looks like a big, huge, massive bolt, and it is. There's a reason for that. These brackets right here are the ones that we use for the ram on our crab davit, and that's the size of the pin. So just to make it easy, we just bought a big bolt for this. There's really no other reason. It's not because we thought we needed a bigger bolt. So we're thinking like that is going to be a lot better.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll delete that one and go ahead and pull that out, Matt. So initially we were thinking we just extend this pipe up, this bracket could drop on there. One of the problems is that we need these holes for this flange to be able to bolt this in place and keep it in the orientation we want. So that's a little bit of a problem. Number 2 is this is schedule 80 2.5 inch pipe. Nothing really sleeves into that without having something machined. It's 2.25 inch on the inside OD and just short of 3 inches outside diameter. So there's no way to like sleeve it, and if you're just relying on that, it's probably plenty strong, but I'd feel better with some kind of sleeve on the inside joining the 2 pipes together for this application. So we kind of threw that one out, and this is what we got instead. We'll cut this off, and then we'll put a 2.25 inch tab here. That'll allow this just to drop inside like that. We'll drill a couple of holes here and do plug welds on both sides, which will lock down the bottom, and then we'll weld the top here. Probably put a cap on this or some kind of filler right there, and so we'll just end up with a tab right here and a hole. We can put it as long as we want.
Got the pin in, got that insert fabbed up. Pretty quick and easy job. Just took the edge off to the inside diameter of the pipe. Left this part long. It was just a scrap from olden days, and so rounded off the corners.
That material's been around for a while.
Slides in there just like that. We'll get a couple of pipe pieces on there and cap it off, And then you
that
got
long
this.
tang that extends down will drill some holes on both sides of this tube here, and we'll plug weld it and then just grind it flush. And that thing ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, shouldn't go anywhere, right?
I mean, like, you could just leave it the way it is and it ain't going nowhere. Right?
Yep.
And we'll find something to push this hole so it's not so large.
Yeah, so we left that plate long, easy enough to trim it off after we figure out our height that we want, so.
Oh, that's way better. So,
That is a lot better. I can tell already.
yeah.
It's, well, I mean, it was,
Orientation is probably going to be real good right there too.
yeah.
Maybe out a bit more. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely more in reach right there, isn't it?
Yeah, that's like
Which is,
really, that's really nice right there.
It has a, for height-wise,
It's good.
that's
It should be
that's a
plenty.
pretty long run,
It
so
should
you
be plenty.
shouldn't have too much issue in grabbing, huh?
No. And that, you know, I can always like, pretty well. We're good enough on this now that we're just gonna go ahead and get it mounted, get it welded out, and if we don't like it, we can always make changes.
Yep.
The other big thing is too, and you guys might have noticed this, that a lot of times that if we didn't stop the line far enough, like the fish are way up here, and there's really no way to reverse the spool because our plumbing is wrong on our hydraulics. So you know, we have forward on our valve and we have back, but the problem is if we try and go back, it just deadheads it, and that's because we have the plumbing wasn't done properly on this. So this is basically how things work. Is this blue one right here is the pressure line. So when the valve on that bank over there is forward, oil is flowing through this and it's coming through here, and the direction of travel is it comes up through here to this T. Now normally this T doesn't affect anything. There's a valve right here, and the reason that valve is there is that it was a safety cut off for this reel. So when we were hauling off the stern, if I got hooked or something or tangled in the line, instead of getting pulled in to the level wind and getting tore up, somebody could reach over here and flip this valve. And so right now it's in the closed position, and what that did was open this, and it allowed the oil to flow through here up to here and through to the return to tank. This goes back to the valve and returns to tank. That's the easiest flow of oil, so it just divert that and stop the reel. So this would stay closed in order to not allow oil to go through here. So under normal operations, oil comes through here, it hits this T, comes back through here, goes to our motor, comes back through this one up to here. Can't go through this because that valve is closed, so it goes into this flow valve. This controls the flow on a motor, so you can regulate it. It goes through this to our level wind motor, and this little lever allows us to speed it up or slow it down. Once we kind of get it optimized, we don't touch it. And then it returns from the motor, from the level wind motor through this T back to the turn, and then all the extra from the motor that's not used on the level wind also joins back right here, and this is EX, that's exhaust basically. So you have your in, you have your constant flow for your motor, you have your exhaust for the extra oil that your flow valve doesn't need, your controlled flow, and all this would return. So if you go back the other way to reverse the motor, now your oil is coming this way, and there's a check valve in here, so it doesn't allow the oil to go into this valve, and it just deadheads it. So that was our problem. It's a pretty simple fix. What we're gonna do is this pressure is gonna stay the same here. We're gonna remove this cutoff valve, and we're gonna move it down here instead. And instead of being in the closed position, it'll now be in the open position. And if you close it, it'll cut the oil off to the motor here. Because this will still be teed into this, the extra oil will now just divert through here and return to tank. And maybe go to the level wind. I don't really care, that's fine. If it zings it, it's okay, no big deal. Now this line here will move to right here and get teed in here. So now this is our return line basically for the motor. So now it's returning to tank here. So your oil is going to come up, it's going to go to the motor, it's going to come back out here. Instead of going to this valve, now it's going to go right to the return side of the valve, which that's what it needs to be. So now if you look at it in reverse, you'd be coming with the oil here into this one, through your motor and back. So the cool thing is, I think we can pull this off with all the same fittings that we have here, with the exception of maybe having to get a male pipe to a female JIC, because these here are JIC fittings. I like the setup. I think this will be good.
I think it looks good.
Yeah.
So we'll have to swing our Davit in at dock, but that's fine. It'll just be 2 bolts right there, so fairly easy. We left the old pad eyes on there, uses a light mount, and it should give us nice light broadcast into the water without hopefully our bodies blocking it too badly.
Might be a good camera mount for these guys too.
Yeah, potentially.
I don't know. What do you guys think? Maybe like that.
That might be kind of cool.
Maybe like this. Got this one right here too, this little triangle. That might actually be the one to go off of.
Yep, and then we have the big bar up there, which is also probably pretty good. Provided it doesn't shake around too much, but it should be pretty solid. Like maybe in here somewhere.
I know you guys want some more angles, and we're gonna try and work on that.
Yeah.
A lot of it too, bear in mind that when we have the full crew on here, it basically gives us, somebody's able to go around with the camera and get those other angles. The ones off the back were never solid mounted. It was somebody standing in the corner there. When it's just 2 of us on here, obviously we can't do that. And why we have thought about the head mount and the body mount, I don't think it's very good footage, honestly.
Yeah, I thought about trying it this year. Maybe I'll try a couple shots this year and see how they turn out.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
maybe the chest mount isn't so bad.
The chest would be okay, but
the
heads,
head
you're
mount
just
is
like,
that when
you're
people
looking
move
everywhere.
Yeah, when people move their heads, unless you move your head like this fast, the footage, it just swings too quick, and it's hard to watch that.
Makes me seasick.
At least it does
land.
me. I mean, we watch a lot of different YouTube channels too.
Yep.
And the guys that use the head mount ones, it's really hard to follow it, and I generally don't think it's very good footage.
So yeah, we'll definitely work on the camera angles. That's one of the commitments I made last year. So
anyways, well, back to our rainy day projects here. Got a little bit of welding to do in the rain. That's going to be fun, and some hydraulic work.
Yeah. All right, guys. Got our pin here. A few holes poked into it. Just doing some plug welds here on the top end for our new eye, I guess. Cool.
It's not really going to come off of there.
Nah, if it does, then we've got other problems.
A little piece in there to make it look pretty, but I'm not going to be up there looking down it right now.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to make any difference.
Well, ultimately, it's kind of just proof of concept right now, and if we want to change it up later, we can into a more pretty final product. I mean, it's not too bad looking, really.
Yeah.
So we'll flatten out these plugs so it'll slide into the socket over there, and I think we just have to
drill a few holes in here somewhere.
yeah, drill a few holes for our collars.
Hopefully
and
we'll miss the majority of that plate.
Yeah,
I think it's down low.
it's lower than that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's on these ones here, I think.
Yeah.
Near 'em.
But yeah, got our Davit all bolted up. I just need a bigger drill bit from home, enlarge that hole and put a slightly bigger bolt on it, and that'll be done. But overall, it turned out pretty good. It's actually pretty wiggle free, which is nice. It's in the top hole right now, so I think it should be pretty nice operation. Dad got the level wind fixed up here. Took a look at the hydraulics over here. We need a fitting. Stores are closed now, so we didn't break into it. So we'll just kind of play that one by ear. Would be good to do, just in case we encounter any bad snags or anything. We can back off the line, and we need a vacation, fishing vacation.
Yes, we do.
So, I guess with all that said, thank you all for joining us.
Yeah, and we'll see you again soon.
Yes.
Hopefully when we're taking ice and pulling on some fat slabs.
That's right.